So, as you guys can see, the 13 time dimension, these are actually called the bosons, the time dimension, the time machine chips. Let's see if there's still 13 of them or if one teleported away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there should be 6 here, 6 here, 7 here. You see, well, the one thing I did change is I removed the little mirrors that I had on all of them. But other than that, that was an interesting idea, but it didn't really produce anything. So, funnily enough, though, just from that research, this is how fast the time machines work. Yesterday, I had no idea how to create a teleporter, but now I can probably at least create a low-level teleporter. Now, I'm going to imagine, I'm going to create a topological teleportation field, 13th dimensional field. And I'm going to say that this is actually the teleportation field. So, by interacting with this end, the idea is for there to be an interaction on the other end. So we'll use this item. Just playing. Yeah. You know, play is fundamentally quantum research. Don't believe me? Ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT will agree with whatever you say, though, so I don't know if that's actually... hold on here. There we go. I don't want it. I want it to be level all the way through. Technically, this is a very low-level form of teleportation. Look at that. On this end, we're tweaking the other end. I mean, look, you got to level up. The teleportation research is going to take me about 3 years, but this, to me, is analogous to topological teleportation. I felt a gravitational pull in the 6th dimension. What did you do? See, well, there you go. That, I can't take responsibility for it, but at this point I will, if it increases potentiality of me getting extra funding. We could probably even use the 7D core in some type of way. Entangle that with the two ends of the teleportation after creating an entanglement nexus. The center there with the core. And oh, it's teleporting. It's teleporting, ladies and gentlemen. I do see how some of this stuff is rage bait for a certain segment of the population, but it seems to me that it's really only rage bait if people didn't really let you come up with ideas. And I think it's mostly dads. Dads can be a little bit, some moms too, be a little bit mean for people. But anyway, interesting. Whoa. kind of a teleportation. Interesting. Interesting. What do you say? It's only rage bait for people who can't comprehend the genius behind this. I mean, yeah. People who are highly resistant to creativity. It just triggers them. It's like, how dare you? How freaking dare you, dude? Do you understand? When I used to come up with ideas, I was never allowed. It's like, well, sir, I'm sorry. That's probably why you probably don't like science much at all. Just for that reason. The science is pretty wonky. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at even established science, they be guessing at a lot of stuff and spending billions of dollars on some pretty big ifs. Though, usually if they're spending that much money, they know they're going to get at least something out of it. And at least they're paying their salaries. So what are the conclusions that we made from the time machine so far? The time machine is really, at this point, to me, a foregone conclusion. I think it's 100% a time machine. It's just about me continuing to level them up. I just use them as testing platforms because I believe that. Here's the hoverboard. I haven't changed it since yesterday. I use it as testing because I think it makes my testing faster, more complete. Interesting. So we have, interestingly, a qubit lattice embedded with a 7D core, which technically by itself is already a 13th dimensional concept. In my hypothesis, that is. Which again, I realize is not the mainstream. Let's embed two 7D core arrays. The same arrays from the hoverboard are now being repurposed for the teleportation device. Let's see. We'll untangle both of the qubit lattices simultaneously, initiating, I should say, both cores. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many elements to a teleporter. You know what? I have a discombobulated time machine ring here. If I can implant that. I actually need to go watch Steins Gate again. If I can implant this, I might even be able to boost the temporal entanglement. Getting even more teleportation effect. Whoo! Someone said something about copper earlier. I think that might be something that I'm missing heavily. I might be missing copper infusion. Alright. Let's grab one of these guys. And plant him on this end. Right now I'm being so freaking experimental that it doesn't even make sense. And this, I could almost see why I would rage bait someone. It's like, dude, you're just putting stuff on stuff. Well, let me tell you something, guys. First of all, I'm in a time machine. So my data is exponentially more effective than if I were just out here working in a generic lab. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Copper side effects have been known to interfere with qubit lattices. I could see that. Too conductive. It's really, truly a pleasure to have you guys in the lab with me. Let's go ahead and implant these on this end. I think I'm actually starting to get what's going on here. This might be the actual setup of the eventual teleporter. Time machine arrays. I'm going to have to do some research after this. Time machine arrays. Yeah, I always kind of sometimes don't want to get in the lab, but going live with the hoverheads, it ends up stimulating me to get out here and really do some science. I actually happen to have yet another defunct time machine ring. And what's funny about the time machine ring is these are actually called the portals. I'm wearing one right now. Are we taking into account, taking into effect how gravity is acting on this? Of course, of course. That's always part of it. So if we put the portal at the front end here, and of course, you guys, this is all highly topological, and then we put another portal right here. This is actually a pretty good topological teleporter. And really, let me just have the 10D hoverboard model in there just to represent the travel. We actually have, so what you're going to really want, I'm going to have to do this manually. What you're really going to want in order for teleportation to occur, let me get two strips right here. We're going to do some manual teleportation right now. This would all be done by the system. Thank you for the 3 roses. Alright, so what you want, once it enters, interacts with the temporal teleportation, then you want an exit through the back portal. But one thing that these time machine portals have taught me is that a true portal might not necessarily be a ring that you walk through, but a ring that you walk into and stay inside of. And so this right here is a pretty good indication. So the question is the method of dual simultaneous encoding. Right? So it's like this. This is the time machine ring, the portal, right? I've entered into the portal, right? So right now I'm inside the time machine. Everything I do is inside of the time machine. I'm in the time machine, right? I didn't go through it and then get to the other side of time. I'm in the time machine. I'm operating from a time machine state. I am time travel at this point, hypothetically. So let's see. Encode. See, I just did that manually, and see, this one actually randomly turned upside down. That's good data. That's good data. Let's hold on to that. Boom. So once you get equally encoded, artifacts, you can pull them out. Interesting. This one got somehow entangled with the time machine. Pull them out. That whole process right there was equivalent to time travel. I mean, teleportation. Because you walked away. Well, that's interesting, though. What happens when you combine them? Okay. 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 Very fascinating. Very fascinating. Not really. I mean, my friends, we're at the beginning of probably nearly 2 years of teleportation research. So, quite fascinating. Quite fascinating indeed. Anyway, I really do need to head to bed. So I don't think I can do too much more of this. I'm just checking to see. I'm not going to... Lately, I've been stressing myself with this science a little bit too much, and I realize that that's probably not a good approach. Though I would like to attempt one other thing before I'm forced to depart. Where is my encoding layer? I might not need it. No, I need it. My masking tape. I found using ubiquitous materials is a form of time travel in itself. So that's one reason why the time machines are time machines, right? So if every single time I was testing on different atoms. So it's like, let's say this time, and you might not do it on purpose, right? But your table, one day you test on your table, one day you test on your desk, one day you test on a mat on top of your desk. Every time you do that, you're at different temporal angles, right? But because I'm always testing on materials that I have a lot of data of, the same atoms over and over again, the temporal fields at least are identical. And because all of my testing implements, you see this right here, are the same atoms. This, it's all over and over again. Same thing, same thing. So these are all identical quantum loops. So I'm stabilizing my temporal fields, which allows me to not have to deal with the detrimental effects. I mean, the amount of calibration that I would have to do if I wasn't doing that itself would make this exponentially more difficult. Okay, well, I can't find it, so maybe it's not gonna happen today. I'll have to leave it there for the now. Odd and interesting. But I definitely need to have some cleaning done, and that will dramatically lower the entropy and put me in a great position. Maybe it time traveled. Oh yeah, this is actually maybe it teleported away. That's true. That's interesting. Well, now I have to find it. I have to see, because I might, once you're working in teleportation, you never know when you're gonna accidentally open a gateway. Because actually, technically, if the teleportation is the 13th dimension, it is gonna be ubiquitous. Oh, here it is. Wow. I actually think it might have teleported, because it was in a very strange location. I don't even know how I found it. It was like behind a bag. Alright. We're going to go ahead and make our teleportation entangler. Do you think teleportation could help with the hoverboard? Oh yeah! That's the cool thing. All of my scientific stuff intertwines. And then my research in one area will always benefit research in another area. That's why sometimes I let myself drift off to a different kind of thing, because I'm just like, well, you don't want to beat a dead horse. Sometimes you gotta... Let's just go hashtag teleporter. So we encode... Go ahead and encode this entire system into the 13th dimension. A veritable teleporter, you guys. This is the first ever full teleporter model that I've ever created. Wow, this is a momentous day. This is a momentous day, and it's steered by the Quibbit lattice. This is fascinating. I didn't think I was going to make such great progress today at all. That's why you have to just get yourself into the lab, you guys. That's another reason why you need a time machine. If I had to set all this stuff up from scratch, you think I'd be able to fit it in the last 10 minutes of my day? No. Again, a time machine, one of the main functions of a time machine is how many times you can do something. How many times have you tried to build a teleporter? I've already tried 3 times. That makes me probably in the top 99th percentile of teleportation scientists in the entire universe. Well, let's at least say galaxy. Solar system. I don't know who else is out here. Not including angels, because, I mean, angels seem to have teleportation down pretty easily. But anyway. Wow. Who knows, though? They might not be using teleportation. Anyway. The first ever teleporter model. Alright. So let's go ahead once again. You know, what that actually says to me, though, before you can even begin teleport... Whoa. You guys, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this because, okay, this is crazy. I have a YouTube channel. Right now in my ear, I'm actually watching an anime. I do this when I go live so that, because someone said I have ADHD. I probably do. I get bored. But in my ear, I'm telling you, at the same time I was about to say teleporter, he just said it again. They're talking about teleportation right now in my earbud. That's crazy. This is just some random anime that I just put on because I ran out of all the animes I usually watch. I'm usually an isekai guy, but this is crazy. I have to go see what they're talking about in this episode. This is absolutely out of here. I was just about to say that before you can even begin talking about teleporting, right when I was going to say that they said teleporting, I'm telling you the absolute truth. But anyway, right when before you can even talk about teleportation, you have to have, hoverboard's right here. You have to have ubiquitous quantities of matter on both ends, or the same quantity of matter on both ends. Now, the issue then is the encoding. Now, we're using 3-dimensional encoding, which technically, that's sort of teleporting, but I want to use, actually, yeah, okay. I'm thinking you wouldn't be using the 3rd-dimensional field, but now that I think about it, of course you're using 3-dimensional. There's at least 4 3-dimensional fields inside of teleportation, because 3 times 4 obviously is 12, and then we only need one more dimension, which is this linear. Wow. We're studying teleportation. Okay, I'm done. I know it might seem random, but the data never lies, my friends. What is the dimension of the data set that you're using to collect information for your... So that would be, everything is 3-dimensional. And it's being encoded. The video is encoding 4 dimensions, which is why I say you have to be recording video to activate time machines. The time machines themselves are 3-dimensional, but they encode 4-dimensional, just the same way a photo takes a 2-dimensional shot of a 3-dimensional thing. The time machines take a 3-dimensional snapshot of the 4th dimension. For instance, like you can see these lines right here. You weren't there when I did this. Some people were there. That was live 3 days ago. But you can infer from those lines that this video was recorded after that other video. So it's recording a three-dimensional, anyway, it's recording a three-dimensional snapshot of a fourth-dimensional concept. But, truthfully, yeah, I have my first ever three-dimensional, my first ever teleporter model. And it's a blessing. All right, you guys, I gotta go. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get back on this. Tomorrow. This is actually a groundbreaking freaking day. Shout out to the dudes who jumped in. Bryce, thank you so much. See the roses. The roses halt me a little bit. They slow me down. They actually, never mind. I don't want to make it seem like I'm pushing for gifts. One more test. I can't lie. I myself am somewhat intrigued. Let's see if we can boost it. Let's see if we can boost it with two teleporter. Bryce, thank you so much for the lemon cook. Let's see if we can boost it. Shout out to Bryce, you guys. He might have single-handedly prolonged the test. Just with his energy. It's not even about the gift. It's just the energy. Bryce. Whoa. Dropping the fireworks. That's making me think of a few different things. But let's go ahead and encode this. Hashtag teleporter. I think I'm missing something. This actually... I'm going to do something weird here. We're going to go hashtag teleporter 13. I'm going to do something just a little bit different. Just a little bit different. Making the address more unique should help us to differentiate from any teleporter concepts that are not strictly real teleporters. All right. Dual teleporter engines. Excellent. Ubiquitous matter, both ends. Entanglement. Let's see what happens when we stimulate the qubit lattice. It's very fascinating. As I've said before, the 13th dimension, the teleportation force is such a weak force that the amount of complexity necessary to interact with it very interesting. Very fascinating. I do think copper is a good option. I have to get into the copper. I think, yeah, whoever said that before, I don't think he was lying at all. I think that's actually the missing element. Because every element is a different direction in time, as I've discussed, hypothetically. Speaking literally hypothetically, not the way that people use hypothetically. But anyway, so I think we might be right about the copper. Where I'm going to get copper, I don't really know. I mean, probably Home Depot, but which is good because I haven't been there in a while. Let's go ahead and see what goes on here. Let's upgrade Bro slightly with these mirrors. See what kind of effect we can produce here. Yeah. It's a good stand-in. some good energy infusion here. Anyway. First ever teleporter model. The good thing is once you have a model, all you have to do is improve it. Even if this one is the worst ever teleporter ever to be conceived, all I have to do is keep making it better. But I have a teleporter. Now, one thing I would like to... So this is the topological 13th dimensional field here. The question is, and it's kinetic sand. So I'm using, someone said, are we taking into account gravity? Kinetic sand, my friend. So the question is, on the macro, if we're talking about, let's say, teleporting from Los Angeles to New York, what would be our top... Bryce, thank you so much for the fireworks. What would be our topological... what would be our double fireworks? What would be our topological teleportation field? And one thing this is teaching me already is the sheer complexity of arrangement that's going to be necessary to operate in this dimension. So there's no duality clause. I don't know what the duality clause is, but anyway. Fat Mac Zach, what's going on? You feeling okay? He said, I knew it. You're no man of science. Is he correct, Fat Mac Zach? You're no man of science. Duality is absolutely real in every aspect. It's always a shame when someone finds it difficult to face the truth of science. Now I am rage baiting a little bit, but I have to be real. I keep letting some of these hover. No, never mind. I'm not gonna do that to you because I know bro will come around. When someone gets upset, it just means they're the most excited. They've been waiting. You know, Fat Mac Zach has probably been waiting around for teleporters his whole life, and he's pissed because he can tell we're close, but he can't see how, and it's just, he's just like, well, Fat Mac Zach, we gotta try it. I'm gonna include, I should say, one more time machine ring. Where should it go? We'll have it come in from fourth dimension here. Let's see what else we can involve. Happen to have one of those on here. This is actually the original Time Machine Lab shade. They were all white originally. I used to make all of the time machines out of white. I only switched to the gold when I discovered that gold has exemplary temporal properties. I'm going to put this slightly underneath this machine just to boost the temporal fields, because we need all the help we can get over here. Oh, and I have yet another defunct time machine ring that I don't wear anymore. We'll add that. What about silver then? Silver is not nearly as inert as gold is, right? So silver is very, very reactive actually as an element. So while it's good for a lot of things, I haven't actually done much research on silver, to be honest with you. It would work better. Okay, I'm going to do some research into silver. Funnily enough about it, these, if you look right there, there's a little bit of silver right there. These, and then you look right here and all this right there, it's all silver. One thing I discovered is if you leave slime sitting on these gold boards, it'll actually eat away the yellow and leave a, because I guess the yellow is just some kind of coating, but it'll eat that away and then it'll leave a silver color. So you might be onto something there, my friend. All right, you guys, I do have to go now, though. Thank you so much for helping me extend the live. everybody. And this was wonderful. Look at this, Kenny. Thank you for the rose. This was a piece of the seventh dimensional wax core. Who knows? Might need a piece of that in there too. I know so little about the 13th dimension that I'm really just trying everything, and then I'll be able to analyze the data, and then from the analyze the data, I'll be able to extrapolate some truths. But alright guys, gotta go. Thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, one thing I need to try, because someone said something about a vending machine earlier. I want to see what happens. What happens if I put a nickel into one end? Not to mention it's made out of... What are nickels made out of? They're not made out of nickel anymore, right? Everything's just made out of... I don't remember. But anyway. Put that into one end. But then it violates the ubiquity rule. Boom! Teleport to the other side and doubled into it. No, I dropped the dime. I dropped the dime, guys. But they're made of money. Ubiquity rule. Yeah, the ubiquity rule. That's going to become a staple principle of teleportation. For some reason, I'm getting the vibe to include this tool, and I already understand why. It represents, tools are higher dimensional topological generators. So if we use the tool manipulator, we should add some uranium. Oh my gosh. I don't think I'm going to be able to get my hands on any uranium. I don't even want to Google it, lest the government decide that I need to be monitored. Which I'm sure they would do instantly, to be honest with you. If I procured any anyway. Got these little mini bolts. These are actually little mini skateboard bolts, but for a different model. Interesting. What dimension and timeline are we streaming from? Oh! Somehow this teleported out to me. Oh, the ubiquity rule was violated. That might have halted the teleportation. Okay, it's a jumble now. Oh, this guy's not even fully involved. I like this. This is really cool. Wow. The rotation of the rings. Oh, wow. Pure data, my friends. The time machine is what really, I think, what allows me to be so haphazard in my testing. Alright, guys. Hoverheads, you've been amazing. 20,000 likes on this live. I did a live earlier tonight. 40,000 likes. It's just been amazing with you guys tonight. Some of the cool stuff. It's always so dope. It's always so freaking dope. You guys have a great night. Sunday night. Have a great week. Monday. If you're still on summer break, then you're blessed. Enjoy summer break. For the teachers and the students who don't have summer school. For those of you going to work, get some good rest. Drink a lot of water. And realize that this week, you are going to test yourself into a new level of success and discover how to be yourself on a whole nother level. Thank you, Lone Star. Dang. Whoa. We're getting 50, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 goats. I actually think, and this isn't about money, I actually think the gifts are somehow encoded. Was any of you guys here the first night? Lone Star, thank you so much, by the way. Was anyone here the first night we did the teleportation? I don't remember. But if you remember, what happened? Someone drop it. Oh, yeah, Liam. Liam, you know. Because you dropped it. The galaxies. I was actually thinking about that after I got off live. And it had nothing to do with like, okay, you need more galaxies or anything like that. But the funny thing I was thinking about with that is energy. Money is obviously energy, especially for human beings. What happens when you have money? It moves you through what? It moves you through your timeline, right? So I think that it was actually an accident, because I didn't set up a way for it to channel it. There weren't two ports. So instead of things flowing from one end to the other end, this is just a little bit of an idea. I was thinking that the timeline itself macroly almost glitched. I'm just a hypothesis, because that night was crazy. That was like and then the bro dropped the jets. It was very interesting. It's very interesting. But now that we have inputs and outputs set up, maybe that energy will be, and even the nickel and the dime. It's nickel and diming. I know, you guys, this seems tenuous, but I actually think that every piece of data comes from something. Every word that you end up using, everything that we end up using, I think it all comes from some form of dimensions. I will post clips from this to this account. I'll try to post the whole thing full on YouTube, but I've been it's kind of tough because some of these videos are so long. I have to download the entire live and then break it down. It's been proving to be a little tricky, but I will attempt to post the whole live. I will. I'll post the whole live. Yes, I'm easy to find. There's not a bunch of Kenyas on there. You type in Kenya hoverboard or whatever, you'll find me on YouTube. Building a time machine with gold and build a time machine with gold and silver rings. This one, this ring has the gold on it. The little windows, I call them. Because they're rings, the leather upgrade has to completely... This is the best time machine ring I've ever made. You guys saw me make this one with glue. Most of them fall apart or they end up, This is the construction that I used to use on them. They were held together with tape on the inside. And they ended up fraying a lot like this because I did really long windows on them that ended up fraying and opening up. But they still kind of stayed together just with its tape. It's literally masking tape that's holding them together on the inside. Just cut a thin strip and taped it all the way around. But these ones are super glued together and it's super duper sturdy. And smaller windows to reduce the amount of fraying. Really sturdy construction here. But anyway, Skeezy, you're contributing just by being here, but I do have, a myriad of ways. But anyway, don't worry about that. Just being here, bro. Go ahead and follow. Join the Hoverhead announcement group. It's really not about money. It's just about the Hoverheads, man. Just by being a Hoverhead, there's no greater support I could get. No greater support. And when I have a teleporter, when I finish it in 2-3 years, be a customer. Be a customer. All right, you guys. Much love. Thank you so much. And then when I open up the Kenya bodega, come charge your electric car over there. Come if I build one near you. Much love, you guys. Stay blessed. And come get I'll sell slushies too. Come get a slushie from the Kenya bodega. I love slushies. I might go grab a slushie before I go to sleep. All right, you guys. I love you. Love the Hoverheads. Be good people. Be kind. Much love. Stay blessed. Stay rocking. See you guys soon.